And let's start with the Toronto Blue Jays and the Cleveland Guardians. This game is in Cleveland. We talk about weather today. The weather not good in Cleveland last night. Windy, cold, in the 30s. Weather does not look much better today. So keep an eye on this game. This game could get postponed as well too. If it does get played, then the weather is it's going to be a factor. So both teams got their aces going today. We'll get into that. But the Blue Jays are a $1.38 favorite. If you like Cleveland, plus 128. The total in this game, a low one at 6.5, minus 110 each way. Both have their aces going, like I said. So you've got Kevin Gausman going against Shane Bieber today. Both these guys have great stuff. They've got low ERAs. Both teams have solid offenses. I do like both of their offensive. Yeah. So base winner. Let's start with you.
Yeah, this is an interesting game for me because for years I've been high on Bieber, and it's been betting on Shane Bieber for me has been very successful over the last 3 years. So it's kind of a weird line for me when I look at the base winner line and I see Toronto minus 155, but it does make sense. I'm going to play Toronto here. Gausman's the number one pitcher in my rankings, and I know this is controversial to many baseball hipsters, but if you look at what he's done this year, it's actually very remarkable that he's had 5 starts, and the last 4 starts have all been in the 90 plus percentile by my 3 metric rating. So I really like that. Bieber is kind of an interesting case, and if you look, he's never had like 90 percentile stuff like Kevin Gausman does, but last year his stuff was 57 percentile by the Stuff Plus metrics, and now it's 30%. So a little concerning there. I still have him rated pretty good in my base winner ratings. He's 33rd out of 150 pitchers. I think offensively we have a big edge with the Blue Jays. I've got them at 114 weighted runs created plus projection, and I'm not that high on the Guardians. I have them a little bit below average at 99. So you put that in the mixer, I've got minus 155. Some concerns about this Toronto bullpen, and if you look all the way down their depth chart, it is a bit concerning, but I'm going to bank that they're going to pitch Gausman. Oh, I think he's gone average of 7 innings in his last 3 games, which is exciting. I like Jordan Romano. I have him with a 70 base winner number. I've got Miza with a 76. And if you look at how those guys have pitched so far this season, they've suppressed runs. Jordan Romano, really good base winner number this season with a 55 run suppression number. The one thing that concerns me, and I hope we don't get this guy coming out of the bullpen, is Yimi Garcia, but it's not Yimi Garcia, it's Jimmy Garcia, spelled with a Y. So that he already gets a strike against him because he doesn't pronounce his name the way he spells it. But if you look at his metrics, year to date, he's been 17% worse than average. And I just hope we don't get him in there. Long-term projections, I'm not like super down on him, but I have him right around league average. So a little bit of a roll of the dice, but I think that if we get Romano, Miza, and Simber on the back end of that game, I think we'll be okay. And that's why I decided to play it full game.
Yeah, and that's exactly the way Toronto wants to draw it up. Just like Gausman, at least 7, go to Maza, and then Romano to close it out, and they're pretty solid with that. Jeff, thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I hate the Blue Jays. No interest in backing them. I don't know why anyone would back this group right now. They've scored 3 or less runs in 5 of the last 6 games. They find ways to lose games seemingly every night. I don't think it's interesting. I'm constantly fascinated by Mark Borchardt's info. I mean, he alludes to the fact that he thinks Toronto's offense is better than Cleveland's, and that's just factually nowhere close to being true. Toronto's offense is producing under about 3.7 runs a game. Cleveland's up near 5. So, I mean, that's just not factual that Toronto's offense is better. Mark, you want to backtrack on that a bit, or are you just saying long-term projections?
Well, I was talking specifically there regarding the long-term projections. But if you look at, I'll just look at their OPS this year. And if you look at Cleveland's OPS, they're at 714, so they are out hitting Toronto at 703. I think if you look into the hard hit per 9 numbers, I think that's concerning if you think Cleveland's offense is better than Toronto's offense. Toronto's hitting the ball hard hit per 9, third in baseball, and Cleveland's 23rd in baseball. So I look for Cleveland to regress and Toronto to get better because of those hard hit metrics and because of the long-term projections. And again, we're dealing with a really small sample size, so I think you have to be careful when you're comparing year-to-date data right now. And I think you have to be careful when you say that Cleveland offense is better than Toronto's offense, because they're not.
Mark, the truth is, though, I mean, when you bet game to game. And you also alluded to the fact that Kevin Gausman's a great pitcher due to his numbers year-to-date. So, listen, I don't agree with this. I hope you win. I really do, because you're part of the show. And, obviously you have to pick the record up because I'm not doing well. But, yeah, look, if you're going to give me Bieber as a dog, I'll bite. That's just my thought.
So here's the deal for me, guys. I love Gausman. And for me, you guys both make very good points. And you're right on the money, Jeff. Cleveland's offense right now is better. And I think, when you look at the star power, it's on the Toronto side. And I think you're thinking that Toronto is going to snap out of this. And even Charlie Montoya, their manager, is saying, we are kind of cold right now. We hope to snap out of this. And when you look at the Toronto lineup on paper, it looks really good. They've had their moments, but right now, yeah, Cleveland has better numbers at this point in time right now. In the long run, will Toronto surpass Cleveland from an offensive standpoint? Probably they should. They should be in the conversation of being one of the best teams in Major League Baseball, and definitely at the top, along with the Yankees of the AL East. So both these guys are strong pitchers. The offenses both can get going at any point in time. It's kind of a hard game to handicap. But for me, what pushed it over the top for me is Gausman. Gausman is spectacular. 41 strikeouts, hasn't walked a single batter. That is phenomenal. And Bieber, I like Bieber, but I don't put him at the Gausman level right now. Bieber is hittable, and he doesn't have the numbers that Gausman has. And you go back to the way Bieber closed the season last year, he was very hittable. There was a stretch of games last year where he was giving up like 8, 9, 10 hits and outings. I know that was last year. But if we're looking at right now, Gausman is a master on the mound. I mean, he's got his breaking ball is phenomenal. His slider seems unhittable, and this guy can bring it up to 96, 97. So for me right now, Gausman is the difference maker in this game. And look what he did and who he's faced. Against the Astros, 10 strikeouts. 2 starts against Boston a couple weeks ago, 9 strikeouts. Follows it up with 8 strikeouts. 9 strikeouts against the Yankees. All against these stellar offensive teams without committing a single walk. So here's another thing too. The Cleveland Guardians have not seen Gausman since he was a member of the Baltimore Orioles. It's been 3 years since they've seen him. So for me, I'm playing Toronto basically based on Gausman. And I hope you're right, Mark. We better get Gausman at least 7. I like to see him go 8 because it sets up nice for Mazza and then Romano, because Romano can be unhittable in the 9th as well too. So for me, it's a Gausman play more so than a Toronto Blue Jay play, but I'm taking the Blue Jays.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on. I mean, Gausman's my number 1, so everything that you say good about him, I agree with. Obviously, he's my number 1, but I mean, really, Cleveland's offense is better than Toronto. I mean, that sounds so
on
absurd.
paper right now.
It is right
now. Okay, so year to date. So would you trust a longer body of work projection, or would you trust 30 days of data, which is not even 30, it's almost 30 days of data.
But Mark, you can't make these arguments when you just quoted year-long data for Kevin Gausman being your number 1
no,
pitcher.
I can certainly make the argument, and if you want me to quote a longer term data, I can also quote longer-term data for Kevin Gausman.
Well, that's fine.
Since July, I mean, he's ranked 15th out of 210 pitchers, and Bieber's at 96 out of 210. So yeah, I mean, I think I can use both, especially when I'm using probably a subset of data that's pitch by pitch data, rather than year-to-date data that's at bat to at bat. So it's a little bit more granular, and I think that I know it correlates better moving forward. But I think that there's some, there's a lot of noise in Cleveland's year-to-date weighted runs created plus, and I kind of back that up by looking at the hard hit metrics. So I would probably bet my house that at the end of the year, Toronto's offense will be better than Cleveland's offense. In fact, I would have no
That's what I
problem
said.
betting my house on that.
Cy Young in 2020, All-Star in 2021. But for whatever reason, Mark Borchard thinks Kevin Gausman's a better pitcher than Shane Bieber.
And let's look at this, guys. Like right now, this is why I'm betting Toronto, because I like Toronto's offense better than I like Cleveland's offense. Okay.
Well, I'll tell you this.
Well, let me say that.
Go ahead.
Real quick. And the reason why I like that, and Cleveland has put up some big numbers, but look who they've done it against. I just rattled off who the Toronto Blue Jays have played. They played the Yankees. They played 2 series with the Red Sox. They played the Astros in 2 series as well too. Cleveland's been beaten up on the A's in a lot lesser schedule. That's why the Cleveland numbers right now look better offensively. But overall, do I like the Toronto offense better? And will I down the road? Absolutely, I will. That's why I'm betting Toronto and more. In case because of Gausman.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
This offense right now is awful, and it's just that simple. You're right, though. I mean, I guess if we're playing the who have we played game, you're right. But I guess we'll have to see. I wish you guys luck.
Let me ask you a question, Jeff. Okay, whose lineup do you like better when you look at the lineup 1 through 9 right now? Whose lineup do you like better?
Well, obviously, if I look at the lineup, I'm going to say obviously Bo Bichette and Vlad Guerrero and
George
and
Springer, and
obviously I'm going to say that, but again, sometimes that doesn't look at the Lakers and they have LeBron James and Anthony Davis and all these guys, but they didn't even make the playoffs. So
I don't handicap on projections season long. Obviously, Mark does here. And again, I made my case why I'm playing the Toronto Blue Jays, and I'm hoping that the bats get better. But now,
I'm not
maybe better offensively now.
The show's shorter today, so we can divulge into this. I guess I'm not kind of understanding, how does a year-long projection have any bearing on what goes on today? Because that's like what's going to happen, maybe. Like
you're right.
Like today, I could fall off my balcony. I hope I don't, but I could.
Well, there's Jeff. There's always going to be variance in day to day, but I'd rather, for my projections, I'd rather use data is more robust than a 30-day sample worth of data. And I think that if you talk to anybody who uses data and handicapping seriously, there'd be no question on what a better idea is to do long term. But yeah, there's going to be variance day to day. But if you hold your projections in your model and you're playing the Blue Jays when value indicates in your model, then long term you're going to win money. And I think that's the goal of betting baseball over a season. Is long term you want to win. So you want to take those opportunities where the model presents value and jump on them. And one thing I do want to say is, if anybody wants to bet, I'll give you. So you got a head start. You've got Cleveland at 113 weighted runs created plus, and you've got the Blue Jays at 105. So you guys get a head start. But if anybody wants to bet me on whether the Blue Jays are going to be better than the Indians, I'll take the Blue Jays, and I'm behind 8 points in weighted runs created plus. So just let me know. I'll take
Nark,
that bet.
I'm not disagreeing with you on that. My question more or less is, I don't understand in today's matchup how their long term, what they might be in the playoffs, what that has any bearing on today.
It's not what they might be in the playoffs. It's what they are going to be. What my projections are season long. So this is a game that's part of the season, and I'm using projections based on longer samples of data to project what these guys are going to produce. So yeah, there's going to be variance game to game. I'm not arguing that. I mean, the Blue Jays aren't going to score 5.2 runs every game. They're going to have games where they score 8. They're going to have games where they score 3. But over the long run, they're going to have more games that they're going to score higher than the average team and then lower than the average team. So
I guess I just look at it, Mark, in layman's terms for like our listeners. I'll compare it to this. Saturday night, I may go out and I may get a girl to, hang with me. But tonight, I know I'm not going to have that, and I'm just going to be alone in my house. So, I look at it kind of like that. I could have that happen in a couple of days, but, tonight it's not. And I just have to understand.
I think
let's go back to your metrics. I want to go back to
minus 350. You're not dating.
I want to go back to his metrics for picking up girls. So, if let's say you and a guy that looked exactly like you, and you guys go out on the same day, right? So over the last 30 days, you've picked up 5 girls, and he's only picked up 3. But over the last 2 years, he's picked up 200 girls and you've only picked up 15. Who would you bet on to pick on a girl? I would bet on the guy that has the longer term success. And I would say that your success recently would amount to like variance and luck. So
well, but remember,
maybe that explains the larger sample. Maybe that explains it.
But over the last 2 years that individual's been picking up girls, I've been, way overweight. Now I'm not, and I've had a lot more recent success. So I hear you. Listen, it's good conversation either way.
Hey, here's the bottom line, guys. In the handicapping world and just kind of in the girl world too, right? Mark is banking on the do theory. Jeff, you're due. The Toronto Blue Jays are due. The do theory. There it is.
Well, I'm not really due, but I get what you're saying.
Okay. Oh, hold on. Late money's come in. Jeff will get a date. It's now down to minus 220.
Keep us informed on that, Jeff, so we can us married guys can live vicariously through you.
Okay, sounds good.
Guys, let's get to the rest of the board, please. All right, lock myself and BaseWinner. We're taking the Toronto Blue Jays. We're both banking on the do theory that the Blue Jays bats will come alive and Kevin Gausman will continue to do what he's done so far this year. So there you go. Minus 138 for the Blue Jays on the road. Hopefully, all this comes to fruition. This game doesn't get rained out. A lot of conversation on this game. All right.